Так, сколько времени? А чё? Я не могу ответить. Короче, я случайно зашел 2 раза в игру. Да, я дебил, но пропустил при этом. Я выставил правильное время в 3-й раз. А потом я просто поотвечал на вопросы. Кто-нибудь знает точно? Я знаю точно. Сейчас 11 часов 26 минут. Секунды. Никто ничего не знает, какая жестокость. Даже мы с вами друг друга не знаем. Мы незнакомцы. Да, конечно, мы настроили игру под ваши требования, но кто-то делает это по-другому. Это просто моя работа. А теперь она окончена. Да ладно, хорош. Вся информация собрана, а у вас больше нечего узнать. Ты врешь. Я все равно... и все равно я вас не знаю. А вы не знаете меня. И мы не знаем, сколько сейчас времени. 11:27. Видимо, некоторые настройки не настроить. Но если честно, часы все равно ничего не делают. При следующем запуске игры меня здесь не будет. Но это ничего. Видеоигры были созданы для одиночек. Эй, не-не-не-не-не. Видеоигры созданы не только для одиночек, слышь? Ведь вам нравится одиночество, и я бы не сказал. Возможно, это единственная важная информация о вас. Что ж, мне пора. Не уходи! Есть еще одна настройка, которую нужно изменить, но мне нужно время, чтобы подготовиться. Это не совсем в моей работе, но это нормально. Возможно, вы увидите меня снова, если сможете найти меня. Поговорим в ближайшее время. Что ж, мы с тобой возвращаемся в игру Stanley Parable. И, по твоему совету, я сейчас буду стучаться в комнату 430. Да, мы знаем, спасибо. Итак, комната 430.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Yes.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ну, поехали. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause.
Да?
Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
50, ладно. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Очень интересно.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Так, 20 раз по 417, да? 417. 417, 20 раз. Так, 417, 400... О! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4... 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437, окей, несколько раз. Господи, что за хуйня? Так, а где 437? А вот она.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415, 10 раз, окей. Господи, чем я занимаюсь? 415, 10 раз, окей.
Now, back to door number 437.
Без проблем, 437. Говно вопрос. 437.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Ксерокс, ну на.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Господи, какой херня. Я сейчас страдаю, не представляю.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Забраться на 419-го?
Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Жесть.
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again.
Да, еще раз на ксерокс. Давай, чё бы не. Господи.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430. Yes!
Да,
We did it!
да.
Oh, wow. That felt amazing.
430.
Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks.
Это было
Really
неплохо.
now? What were you
Это
thinking?
было четко. А еще я понял, на стол можно залезть, да? Кстати говоря, на удивление, вот этот стол немного ниже, кстати, вот этот вот. Ну окей. Я только сейчас это заметил, что вот этот стол реально ниже. Так, ладно, пошли, короче, в этот раз мы пойдем по правой стороне. Мы кучу раз шли по левой, хотя влево я еще вниз не ходил, поэтому мы пойдем... Мы пойдем налево вниз, а потом пойдем, короче, по правой стороне. Будет сегодня 5 концовок, целых 5, охренеть. Так что посмотрим.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back.
Блин, да ладно, она сбросилась? Да хорош. Не, я постою, чё мне?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Блин, придется немного подождать. А у нас это было уже. Ну ладно, ничего, пускай будет еще.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing?
Ну, технически, да.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom
серьезно, мы
closet,
отключили.
she would have had a
Прыгать
reason for
нельзя, я
exploring it
случайно
to
нажал на
find
пробел
out.
кучу раз.
It didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Ну блин, если ты о ней не упоминаешь, значит не есть что-то интересное, стопудово.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branch.
Я хочу заняться этой
Maybe when you
фигней.
go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Ой, хорош. Ой, хорош. Давай дальше.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Хорош.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Да.
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Так, отлично.
Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Подождем немного. Минутку хотя бы. И тогда, если он что-то будет делать, окей. Хотя, не, погнали. Ну-ка. А теперь... Нет, видимо, это так не работает. Хорошо. Мы сюда в любом случае еще зайдем, так что почему бы и нет. Стэнли пошел вниз. Нет, нам не надо. Мы идем сюда вниз. Тут, ни удивления, ничего нет. Хотя тут есть какое-то письмецо. А его так просто не прочтешь. Ну окей. Наша задача идти вот сюда в подвал.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Интересно.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Эй!
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Так.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Допустим, безумная концовка, как я понял, да? Это еще не конец. Если честно, я не пытался сделать несколько вещей.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Тут должны быть компьютеры, которые надо активировать. О! Надо искать компьютер, который надо активировать. Во-вторых, надо залезть в шкаф и
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Надо посмотреть, что будет, если я залезу еще раз в кладовку.
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided, oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Так, отлично, окей. Второй раз. Так, не работает, окей. Так. Это значит, мы можем сейчас подняться, но нам нет толку на самом деле подниматься. Так, да, поэтому перезапустим. О! Еще один компьютер.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Он забаррикадировал ее. Ладно. Так, там какой-то мега сральник. Опа. Так, но в целом нам тут ловить уже нечего. Пошли посмотрим на толчок. Money. Окей. Так, ладно, поехали. По новой. Ни хрена.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Концовка с белой доской. Собачий мод. Нашли концовку с белой доской. Неждан.
Did mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ошелся. Ну-ка.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't.
Так, погоди. Добро пожаловать в рай. Я нашел рай для Стэнли. Рай Стэнли. Яху. Стэнли умер, все. Они отжимаются со временем. Мы видим рай. Что ж, ладно, поехали. Еще одну концовку узрели, окей, без проблем. Опа. Интересно. Такс. После очередной концовочки игра у меня почему-то вылетела. Так вот, чем я хотел тут заняться? Точно, мы идем с тобой по правой стороне. Да. Как это что? Куда? Мы с тобой увидели рай Стэнли, мы с тобой увидели белую доску, мы с тобой увидели безумную концовку. А теперь мы с тобой пойдем на правую сторону. А, мы еще с тобой ачивку увидели. Да, так что... Нет, мы идем сюда. Да, она была в другой стороне. Я думаю, я сделаю монтаж, потому что, блин, у меня... Вау, а там дверь открыта. Я сделаю монтажик, потому что мне надо.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Интересно. Я бы так-то посмотрел на то, что там написано, и тут тоже. Он типа опрос. Типа...
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Да, это прям огонь вообще. Классная комната. Я в ней, наверное, останусь до конца жизни. Ладно, пошли дальше.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Ладно, комната и вправду жуткая.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Так, нет, мы пойдем прямо. Нет уж. Мы пойдем вот сюда. Прямо. Мы пойдем вот сюда. Я хочу
Stanley was
сюда.
so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Итак, отлично. Так, какие концовки мы с тобой увидели? Рай, белая доска, ачивка. А, еще безумно. То есть еще две концовки надо.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Да,
but the fact
это
is that the
трудно.
story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
В смысле для Холла? Типа, в смысле?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
По-моему, это какой-то стёб. Ага.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Ну, погнали, окей. Так. Ага.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of
Могу
the
я
oven.
уйти?
All right.
Окей, давай.
All right, now I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
Скотина.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
А чё
They want to
нет-то?
commit their life to you.
Вот ты пёс, а.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
Ой.
Come inside.
У меня
Let me
микрофон
show you what's
стучится.
really going on here.
Опа, надо кабель убрать. И вот так, отлично, все. Во-первых, я валю, нет.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Бля, ты криповатый мужик. Ну окей, погнали.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ага. Нажмите Q. Доброе утро, сотрудник 427. Нажмите Q.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Нажмите Z.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Какая жестокая сказка, слышь?
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Нажмите Y, чтобы посмотреть ТВ.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Игра с детьми?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice.
Ура!
It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Нажмите R, чтобы приготовить ужин.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Так, это что, спойлеры? Сказать детям сказку. Давай.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be?
Слышь, моя жена являлась половиной стола.
The same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Сурово. R, пойти спать.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Я не буду нажимать кнопку, окей? Или мне придется нажать на кнопку? Видимо, придется.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
G, чтоб не задавать вопросов, ну, без проблем вообще. Самый идеальный сотрудник, наверное.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. and I tried again.
Умрите?
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Спасибо. Что-то как-то жестко. Это никогда не кончится. Так. Мне это, конечно, не понравилось, но почему бы и нет? Мы пойдем туда. Туда. И я заметил, там есть провод. New content. Мы сходим туда потом. Сначала мы пойдем по стандартным концовкам, как я понял. Я отомщу ему за это. Я отомщу ему за этот прикол.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Не пойду я в эту комнату, я пойду в нее потом. Сейчас я пойду и хочу закончить кое-что интересное. Чё тут? Карголифт 1000. Прыгать с карголифта 5000, типа штраф, да? А использовать его неправильно, ну окей, ладно, допустим.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Да, конечно, да, конечно.
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself,
да, ну
to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Пускай подождет, я тебе в этот раз не поверю, хорош. Так, во, кабель, ну-ка.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be... Oh, no, you can't...
В натуре?
Did you just unplug the phone?
Да, нахер тебе.
That wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
Так тебе и надо.
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone.
Пошел
He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another.
Да.
Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits.
Да, конечно.
Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible?
Легко.
None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Конечно.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person.
Серьезно?
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
На практике,
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, If you begin to wonder if your choices are
Отлично,
actually
на превью идет
meaningful
вообще.
and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back.
What the
You
fuck?
may have noticed that this room has
где это?
begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you
Что-то у нас
made
тут
just a few minutes
всё
ago and
поломалось
see
чутко.
what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Окей. Так, и куда там? Он меня сейчас будет за ручку вести. О, хорош.
Now
Он
that we
мне
know
всю...
your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
Oh.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all.
Ой, бля.
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Фу, хорош. Он мне все пути закрыл. Все пути. К суициду, который, кстати, тут, походу, есть. Вон туда свалиться. Охереть, блин. Вот это я понимаю. Хорош. Так, дорога назад, ну, в другую сторону закрыта. То есть я должен вернуться обратно, да? Хорош.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Ага, вот так вот, да, то есть.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first.
Мне не
I'm
дают
quite sure
права
you'll be
выбора,
up to
да?
the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Так, погоди. Ля, тут уже все так нехило ломается. Ну давай, почему бы и нет. А тут что у нас? Все в порядке вроде? Да, вроде нет. Тут тоже что-то не то.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that you... My story! You've destroyed my work! Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Ёлы-палы.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Нефиг меня
What, did you think that would
обманывать.
be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Ну, блин, прости.
Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious.
Да я в
It would have
курсе.
been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story
Так, стоять, что за...
first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Да я не пойду в левую, я пойду в правую.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ну пошли в левую, ладно. Все нормально? Я сделал, как ты просишь. О, смотри, все идет по сюжету.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
Она
find an
закрыта.
answer there. Coming to a staircase,
Я не
Stanley
могу
walked
выйти.
upstairs to his
Да
boss's
хорош.
office.
То есть у меня нет реального выбора. Жесть. А тут вообще все закрыто. Ага. Не понял, а почему она зеленая?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any
А
human
тут что-то не
life.
так.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Я не умею говорить.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Чел, я не умею говорить. Мы тут с тобой застряли, потому что ты, блин, не дал мне возможность говорить.
I'm sorry, is there a problem?
Да.
You didn't mishear me, did you?
Ты меня не
Please
расслышал.
speak the code into the receiver.
Да вот он,
Otherwise we
передо
can't get on
мной.
with the story. This is a crucial step.
Я не умею говорить. Понимаешь, ты нарушил правила.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it.
Да
But
я
you
не
know
могу.
what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Опа.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
В смысле?
Stanley? Hello? Are you...
Это
Is everything
Стэнли?
Okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
Конец.
I need you to walk through the door.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Хорош.
Is everything all right?
Это концовка без Стэнли, то
Stanley,
есть...
this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything.
Хорош.
This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right.
Извини, Лерой. Кто такой Лерой? Извини, Лерой. Кто такой Лерой? Извините, Лерой. Это типа актер озвучки? Так, мы с тобой увидели на самом деле кучу всякой фигни в этой игре, поэтому ссылочка на плейлист будет в описании под видео. С тобой был я, Дмитрий, на канале ЧЕМУ с банальным ником. Подписывайтесь, ставьте лайки, комментируйте. Всем удачи, ребят. Увидимся в следующих сериях, играх и прочем. Все, ребят, всем пока.